Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, 7-star versions of Nick Fury and Apocalypse are coming to Marvel Contest of Champions very, very shortly in the Heart of Fire event. This is going to be a units-based, spending-based event after this Deadpool Spring Cleaning event. And we've already had those champions released, so in this video we're going to be speculating who are the other 4 characters, who is going to be released apart from these two. Let's kick things off firstly with the Cosmic class. There's a very good reason for starting here, because I want to talk about the standard of characters that are going to be released in this group. We're going to use Nick Fury and Apocalypse as reference points, and the standard has been set very, very high by these two characters, but I think I can better illustrate that with the Cosmic class. If you were going to compete with Nick Fury and Apocalypse in the Cosmic class, who would you add as a 7-star? Because the Cosmic class, other than very few champions as 6 stars, have already been released basically as 7 stars. You have Serpent, 7-star. Gallon, we have confirmation, will be a 7-star in a separate event. He's essentially going to be re-released as a 7-star later on this year, so he's out of this discussion. He was mentioned in a separate slide. Superior Iron Man, 7-star. Corvus, Captain Marvel, 7 stars. Adam, Maestro, Null, 7 stars. Nova, 7-star. Angela, Gamora, Venom, 7 stars. Medusa, Gladiator, 7 stars. There are lots of really good Cosmic Champions that you could release, but they're already 7 stars. So your group of champions, your pool of champions to draw from, in my mind, there are 3 options. 3. Hercules, never going to happen. We've already know he is locked as a 6-star for good. Cosmic Ghost Rider, and who I believe will be the 7-star Cosmic Champion added, Hulkling. God help me. Right, Trappy already made a video talking about why Hulkling is ready to be released as a 7-star, saying that he's not too insane because we already have characters like Deathless Thanos who are utterly ridiculous and they set the new standard in the game, and Hulkling is within that standard. Hulkling would not be too broken. It's a perfectly sound argument, but I will say, if Trappy was a fireman, he would be shown a burning house and arrive with a flamethrower. You do not fight fire with fire. That's not going to work. Hulkling, in my opinion, would be way too far as a 7-star. There are very few defenders that will be able to stand in his way in Battlegrounds, in Alliance War. This man would just dominate as a 7-star rank 4. But I think that is the way the game is moving, right? I think it is time for us to move away from the 6-star Cosmic class, because even if this guy is just so broken, you can tell I'm really torn about this. Even if he is too broken, I don't see another option. I think that's just where the game's going to go. That is where the Cosmic class is going to go in the future. 7-star Hulkling, I think, is here and is all but confirmed at this point, because, I mean, what, you're going to release 7-star CGR? I mean, Slayer of Gods would come, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, let's move on to the Science class. And again, like Gallon, we've had confirmation that 7-star Red Guardian is coming to the game in this Deadpool Spring Cleaning event. So he's out of the discussion in this, although if he wasn't, I would 100% say Red Guardian. But no. For me, it comes down to 2 characters in the Science class. Again, we're using Hulkling, Nick Fury, and Apocalypse as reference points here for the standard of these characters. Human Torch, I think, would be too far. I don't think Kabam wants 7-star Human Torch. I think if you were to do that, he would just dominate too much. I say Hulkling's going to dominate, Nick Fury's going to dominate, Apocalypse is going to be brilliant, but we're going to just go back to the old days of Battlegrounds where this man was cooking anybody and everybody in 30 seconds. I don't think Kabam wants a 7-star rank 4 version of Human Torch. You could release Electro, but again, all these champions, I'm going to be focusing mainly on offensive potential, and Electro doesn't have that, even though he would be, in my opinion, a fair defender as a 7-star. It comes down to Immortal Abomination, which would be, I believe, a very fair 7-star character, and I think my ultimate prediction, Scorpion. Scorpion, I think, would be insane as a 7-star. But I'm completely detached from reality now. I'm just completely ignoring all the facts in front of me at this point. If Nick Fury and all but confirmed Hulkling are coming to the game as 7 stars, I'm just going to detach my brain from reality quickly and just start guessing ridiculous characters. Scorpion, with his pre-fight ability, goes immune to Rupture. Now, we have Hazard Shift Rupture nodes in Alliance War. This man, with his Dressed for Your Funeral synergy, where he gains a 10% passive fury for each sting debuff on the opponent, will cook everybody in top tier Alliance War, in questing, anywhere where you can bring that synergy, will die with the Scorpion. As a 7-star rank 4, with the healing, he can take Korg, he can take a Tumor. Just the damage back just pops back up to 100% health. With this personal space regen meta that we're going to get in Alliance War this season, not Alliance War, Battlegrounds this season, you can take him down to 10%, chuck off the SB2. If the opponent's healing, so's he! And he just goes straight up to 100%. I can't even talk by how ridiculous he is. Scorpion, though, is my pick to become a 7-star character. What the hell is he doing? Doesn't matter. Anyway, Scorpion in the Science class. Who did I say? Hulkling in the Cosmic class. We've already had Apocalypse and Nick Fury confirmed. Just to recap, let's move it on to the Tech class. The Tech class is an interesting one. You know, in fact, for this one, I'm going to give you an upper bound and a lower bound estimate. Ghost, I don't think Kabam want that. Ghost, you know, just in terms of champions released across the timeline of the contest, Ghost is certainly top 5 most insane characters ever released. She is right up there with Quake and Kitty Pryde. She is broken in so many ways, particularly with the Wasp synergy, just for ease of use, and in Alliance War, where I think Kabam are focusing the majority of their efforts, she would be a little bit too far, in my opinion. But I'm going to give you an upper bound and a lower bound. My lower bound is Nimrod. Nimrod is interesting, because you could definitely release Nimrod as a 7-star character. The boost to 7-star would make him viable against non-mutants. I think that would be good. Against mutants right now is kind of only where you can use Nimrod as a 6-star. But my upper bound is Ant-Man. Future Ant-Man. I think as an attacker, as a defender, we're ready for a 7-star future Ant-Man. He is insane with his glancing, especially with his awakened ability, with his application against Bleed and Incinerate. He's a fantastic character, and if you don't have a counter in Battlegrounds, you're not going to be having a lot of fun against a 7-star version of this guy. But I think we're ready. His offensive loop is powerful, but not too powerful. So I think 7-star future Ant-Man is where the Tech class is going to be going. But if not, a lower bound is Nimrod. My only issue is the meta-relevant mutant defenders right now. Domino isn't the best mutant defender currently. It's Onslaught, and then I think also Dust is going to be a character he's going to have a problem with, because she's shock immune, right? He relies on shocks, and the mutant defenders currently are punishing shocks. The mutant class has evolved away from Nimrod and say, well, actually, I don't want to have Nimrod just completely dominate the class. That's what Kabam said. Bishop, Onslaught, Dust, they get away from Nimrod quite easily. So I am leaning towards future Ant-Man, but if you think that's too far, then a lower bound estimate would be Nimrod. So let's move it on to the final class today. We have the Mystic class. For me, it only comes down to 2 characters, and even then it's quite an easy choice. We were at one point given an opportunity to vote for Black Widow as a 7-star to enter the Titan Crystal, but then Kabam said, no, sorry, that was a mistake, and then they changed it. But Doctor Doom. I think it has to be Doctor Doom. I think there isn't much of a discussion here. Yes, Tigra has kind of fallen off. Absorbing Man, maybe. I don't think so, though. I think it's time to bring the classic back. And Doctor Doom is the way forward for the 7-star Mystic class. He's powerful, but he's not powerful enough to take characters like Serpent or Maestro, so he wouldn't cook everybody. But he'd be very, very powerful, especially as a defender. As a defender, this guy's really fallen off. The Science class is so busted nowadays that I believe they are ready to take on a 7-star rank 3 or rank 4 version of Doctor Doom. And if the standard of Nick Fury and Apocalypse are anything to go by, we are expecting characters like Doctor Doom. And they are going to come back and they are going to dominate the meta, especially on defense. I think a 7-star Doctor Doom would just be terrifying. But anyway, that is all of my predictions. Now for my thoughts on this event as a whole. As per last year with the Omega Days event, this will be focused on spending. In order to get all of these characters, or have even a chance at all of these characters, you will need to spend thousands of units and or a lot of money. And then you will be able to rank up, sig up, awaken, get all of these characters. And, you know, even if you gave all the whales 7-star rank 3 Nick Fury and Apocalypse, that alone would be ridiculous. But no, to those who spend on the game, you'll be able to get 6, from the looks of it, insane 7-star characters and just leave the rest of us for dead. And I'm worried for the competitive meta, even between like lower spenders and higher spenders, like forgetting free to play for a second, just the gap between the mega whales and the kind of the baby whales. No one's ever said that before, baby whale. It's just going to do this. And we're going to reach a new level of insanity at the top end of this game that I'm not ready for. I mean, take a look at this. Let's hop into Battlegrounds for a moment. I haven't touched Battlegrounds because, frankly, I don't want to, because I wasn't having a very good time last meta. It seems to me that in Battlegrounds, like when you're PvP 1v1 against these guys, either you get the fantastic characters or you die. And like, that's it. You need very specific counters to take on these ridiculous characters, and more of them are coming, right? As 7 stars, and yes, these are existing characters, so we already know how to fight them. I know how to fight Nick Fury, I know how to fight future Ant-Man or Hulkling or Apocalypse, but that new level of power will mean a new level of power from new characters, and it just keeps going, and I'm not ready to fight a 7-star rank 4 version of Nick Fury, or to have my opponent draft a 7-star rank 4 version of Hulkling in Battlegrounds. I'm not ready for that. It just seems too far for me, and if these predictions end up coming close to even close to being true, right? Even if the sound of these characters isn't quite what I predicted, but is somewhat close, I will be spending my units to open some crystals, because I need to. Because if I want any hope of getting that Celestial title, yes, I'm bad at the game, then I'm not going to be able to compete with 7-star Hulkling or 7-star Scorpion. I just can't. So I'm not happy with the way this event's going to go. I already know it. It's going to be revolving around spending. They said it will be. You know, you've got all these units coming in from the spring cleaning, and now you need to use them on this event. And Kabam are going to make a lot of money. In many ways, it's a necessary evil. Just moving the game forward, away from 6 stars. We're at 7-star rank 4 now. You know, we're only 2 ranks away from 7-star rank 6s, and that's it. 7 stars are fully matured. 6 stars are basically dead at this point. So more 6 stars are going to come to the game as 7 stars. Question is, at what point is it too far? And some of these characters for me are certainly too far. But anyway, without wanting to end this on a bad note, been very fun predicting these characters. I think the official reveals are going to be insane. We're going to get a lot of controversy if the new champions coming to 7-star class, 7-star rarity, are anything close to what I predicted. But anyway, if you have made it this far, then thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.